This is the video mix board. This is where all of our live channels will come together to create the live mix. Now, it's really quite simple. There seems like a lot of buttons, but we'll split it up into two parts. Channel 1 is down here, and Channel 2 is on top. We won't use Channel 2, that'll be for other things, but for JP Broadcast, we will use this section here, Channel 1. Now, the main thing you'll want to know is how to queue up footage and then make it go live. Now, if you'll see here on the bottom row of buttons, they indicate that it is being selected with a green light. That's how you know it's queued. Red will be live. Now, if you want to select something to queue it, to be put into the mix, you will simply press the button and you can see that it's been selected because it turns green. For example, I will queue Channel 1, which is the studio. You can see it comes up here on the screen, and this is going to be your section where your queued channel will be, and this will be your live channel. I can come over here and swap the two by hitting auto. It automatically transitions fluidly in 1 second. Now, you can also do this manually with this lever right here. You can move it as slowly as you want to, or as fast as you want to. But to keep it consistent and smooth, we like to use auto transition. Now, if you need to make a fast cut immediately straight to the next queued channel, you can hit cut right next to auto. We won't use cut often. Now, how do you know what's queued and how do you know what's live? How do you know what you're clicking on with the buttons? Aside from seeing it up here on the monitors, you want to look at your channel names, and those will be listed in blue right above your live buttons up here. As you can see, camera 1 is first, camera 2 is second, and so on and so on. Now, if you really find yourself in a bad spot and you have to get over to footage immediately, rather than queuing it up and going auto or cut, you can queue up what you want. Say you're here, but you have to get over quick. You can immediately press over on another button that immediately sends that channel to live, rather than queuing it and then transitioning it. Now let's talk about the theater cameras for a minute. This device right here controls the theater cameras and Lindsay Hall cameras. However, we'll stick with just the theater cameras for now. It's located right next to your video mix board, and this first thing we'll talk about is a toggle switch. The toggle joystick right here you can use to zoom in and out on the selected camera, and you can move it around to reorient the camera in the direction that it's facing. Now, if you want to change between the selected cameras that you'll be controlling, you can change it between 1, 2, and 3. What you have to do is select 1 cam, and now you have control over that selected camera. 1 is theater audience left. 2 cam. Now I've selected theater audience center camera. And finally 3 cam, and I've selected theater audience right, and I can reorient that camera. Now that we've talked about what's in the center with your mix and your channels, let's go over to our audio channels with the audio mix board. Now, before you can do anything, you have to turn the soundboard on. So you'll look to your right and you'll see a panel over here, and there's a big switch with a green light next to it. So flip the switch up and you'll see a red light come on and a yellow light come on. Then you'll see the soundboard light up and go into a warm-up sequence, all the lights will turn on, and you're ready to go. Very basics. The red lights you see illuminated here are the buttons that mute the channels. When the light is on, the channel's muted. When the light is not on, you know that the channel is hot, or live, or there is sound coming through the channel. In order to adjust the levels, or the loudness of the channel, use this here, which is called a fader. Up is louder, down is softer. All the way down, and there's no sound coming through. If you look all the way on the far right end, you'll see one fader separated by itself. If you look at the top, it's labeled main. This is your main fader. If you want to control all the levels going through the soundboard and going out of it, you can adjust it with this fader. Now you'll see a yellow light indicated here. This button means that channels 1 through 24 are selected. Above it are channels 25 through 48. An orange light comes on, and you can see that those channels are selected. You can mute the entire soundboard by selecting the mute button up here on the main channel. Now that it's red, you know that the whole thing's muted. You'll see two speakers located to the left and to the right of the soundboard. These two speakers put out audio from the soundboard that is going directly into the soundboard. Now, if you think that those monitors are too loud or too soft, you can always adjust the levels by going over to Monitor right here, located on the far right of the upper panel, and you can adjust the levels with a knob there.
So as audio tech, you have to test all of the batteries and make sure that they are charged enough to use them for the microphones for the whole show. You put the batteries in the microphones, and you hand the microphones to the anchors.
Alright, so these are the mics that the anchors use for the show. So you're going to either clip it to your belt or to your skirt, and you're going to run it up through your shirt, and then it's good for you to have on a collared shirt because it's a lot easier, and you'll hear that from Bobby a lot. And then you're just going to place it on your collar, and yeah.
And you also have to set up all of the headphones for the people who need them for their jobs in the show.
Welcome back to another episode of JPTV. Got you. These are some tips and tricks as an anchor myself. My name is Andrews Morgan, and let's just get right into it. So as an anchor, you never want to be too awkward, you know? You never want to be too stagnant, too uptight. You just kind of want to go with the flow, let loose, and, just have fun with it. It's not a scary thing. The lights are bright, it's kind of just like the camera's on you, and you don't really know what to do when you're not talking, but, just smile. It's not that hard. When you don't smile, you look like an idiot, because you're like, just smile, okay? And then just act like you care about what the other person's saying, even if you don't. Just gotta act like it.
The next job we have is called a sports anchor. It's different from the original anchors because the sports anchor only does a certain amount of a segment. They won't stay on the show the whole entire show. What they will have to do is they have to talk quick and be persistent. So they'll go over all the sports, and it'll last about a minute and a half, 2 minutes long. And there will be a super source right here that will show all the sports and all the activities that are going on around prep.
Okay, so if you're doing titles, you're going to be on this computer right here. And what you're going to do is you're going to open up vMix for whichever team you're on. So, for example, I was on blue team. And so then you go to this yellow box down here, and you right-click, and you go to Title Editor. And so there will already be some default titles in here. So let's just say that Dylan Burkhalter is an anchor. So you would type out Dylan Burkhalter, and then you'd go over here to title, and you would type out JPTV anchor, or whichever title she is. Another example would be Mr. Nathan Devine. Title is 12th grade English teacher. So after you get all your titles in for your particular show, you exit out of this. And so this screen right here is what's actually what's actually playing live. So whenever Dylan is on camera, I'm going to click this box just one time, which it'll display her title, and you hold for 5 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you click it again, and it clicks off. And so whichever person is on camera, you will click this yellow box to display their title, hold 5 seconds, then click them off. And that's basically it. So let's say that Mr. Devine is about to be on camera. The way that you would switch titles is that you're going to right-click on this box. You're going to scroll down till you find Mr. Nathan Devine. Click on him. And then let's say he shows up on the screen. There he is. Okay. Click on it. Hold 5 seconds. Now you're going to click off. And then Dylan's back on. Back to Dylan. So also, your job as titles is to record the show. So this part's super simple. All you do is you go down here on the bottom left and you click this record button. You're going to click it, and then your director will do the countdown. So once there's 5-ish seconds till you go, you're going to press record. And now that red timer going is showing how long the show is. And then, of course, once the show is done, you're going to click back over here to the red record button. Stop recording, yes.
Here's a prime example of one of the cameras we'll be using. First off, power button. Bottom left, you flip it forward and that'll turn it on. There's plenty of capabilities on this camera, including the zoom, record, and there's a tripod with an arm that has a remote on it, and this is kind of what we'll be using mostly for zooming. In order to record any footage you shoot, you're going to need an SD card, and that goes in on the back left of the camera, like so. Here we have the teleprompter, and its primary purpose is to display the script to the anchors.